welcome back to the Art of Squabble Part 2 of Episode 4. We still got a lot to talk about, man, but we're going to start off with something that's very, very serious for a multitude of reasons for the direction that AEW is going in 2024. As we all know, AEW World's End happened this past weekend. Lots of crazy things happened during the show. Some crazy things happened before the show. Some accusations, have been made against one of AEW's biggest stars, Chris Jericho. So Tony Khan had a lot of questions to answer during this media scrum. Everything from contract situations to MJF losing his world championship to Samoa Joe, to the accusations that were made against Chris Jericho. So let's dive in and dissect the things that transpired during this media scrum. I personally, I think if I'm giving Tony the benefit of the doubt, he was in a very, very tough situation. Regardless of how he handled the cloud that was going to be over at least a portion of the AEW World's End pay-per-view, which was Chris Jericho being accused of sexually harassing and possibly sexually assaulting ex-AEW women's wrestler Kylie Ray. Now, again, these are internet accusations. Apparently there's been NDA signed, but maybe not, maybe yes. There's a lot of if-then situations. So, personally, I thought that Tony Khan probably should have, pulled Chris Jericho off the show, if I'm being honest. I don't think it would have hurt the show much to just pull him off while, you know what I'm saying, you let you investigate this situation. But the way Tony responded, it seems like any investigation that would have been done may have already been transpired, and there won't be any further looking into this. And if there are NDAs signed, then we will never know the truth in this situation. So, I the main issue I have with it is Tony's just complete denial of it having any legitimacy without denying that it has any legitimacy. Like, he really brushed over the situation, didn't really address it, and just called it, like I said, internet accusations, which, again, proper investigation should be done into this situation. But it seems like he doesn't even want to bring this to the disciplinary committee, which AEW has in place. They have a system for how people get suspended and whether or not you get fired, like CM Punk, for disciplinary actions. But it seems like he's not going that way with this at all. It seems like I said, if there was an investigation, there's been an investigation, there's NDAs possibly signed. It's really just such a tricky situation, but Tony Khan really didn't address it. And then he proceeded to have a goofy ass hat and some glasses on during another part where he knew those questions were coming. He knew what he was walking into, and I understand him trying to be in good spirits, especially for the end of the year for AEW, but AEW just in such a tumultuous situation right now. I feel like, personally, from not even just that, but everything that happened at World's End. Maybe not their best pay-per-view. A lot of people saying it's their worst. The MJF question, the Devil situation. It was just so much for Tony Khan to address, and it doesn't seem like he's ever able to come off of his pedestal, in my opinion. And that's what the scrum showed me. He's never able to be like, hey, this didn't go the way we wanted it to. This didn't, he's always just trying to run off all of these obscure accomplishments that AEW has accomplished, when in reality, even the fans of AEW are saying that the product isn't what it used to be. And yesterday was a 5-year anniversary of AEW being an official thing. And I just feel like Tony Khan, that media scrum, I think it may be a reality check for AEW fans and wrestling fans alike all around, because I think all wrestling fans are very happy for AEW's success. But I don't see I don't see AEW climbing the mountain that they were once climbing. It seems like the company is getting stagnant, and it's partially because of Tony Khan. And overall, in that entire media scrum, I think overarchingly it kind of displayed that to an extent, in my opinion.
I agree.
What about you guys? Man?
So I'm not gonna sit there and talk about how fucking stupid Tony Khan looked with Tony Storm's hat on, right? It was her hat, her glasses. I'm not gonna talk about that because
I believe so.
at the end of the day, in the scrum, he answered a lot of questions, and the first question he was asked was about the Chris Jericho situation. While it wasn't explicitly stated, the journalist, he alluded to it. And even when Tony Khan had taken off the hat and the stupid ass glasses, he did answer more questions about it. I think my problem, along with Derek, was the way that he addressed the situation. Whether Kylie Ray, whether it was a true accusation, whether it was true or not, the way that he handled the answers to that question I felt like it was unacceptable. When you talk about a situation like what happened with Jungle Boy Jack Perry, or if you're answering the question about like the elite situation with Larry and Ace Steel, all that, you say, oh, it's under investigation. But somebody like Kylie Ray, a woman, and we already know that you have a track record of mistreating these fucking women. Like, your women's division is so good, but
Yes.
I felt like
Yes.
you don't give enough attention to these women. So, on top of that, you want to downplay the whole situation. Even when
Yes.
even when Kylie Ray was first released from AEW, you had said, "Oh, well, you know, I hope she does better," but you were all nervous and jittery. You knew something. So even a couple years later, when you're asked the same questions about it, especially after these accusations, now you want to sit here and say, "Oh, well, there's nothing. No, we're not going to really, spend too much time about internet rumors, internet this. Address it how it is. You're the
Mhm.
owner of this company. Address it how it is." And then you want to say, well, in terms of AEW being safe, where I think we have the best track record of being a safe company. You are not the safest company, because just last year, or maybe 2 years ago, if we want to be technical, Andrade and Sammy Guevara had an issue. Did they not? That's one. Two, CM Punk had that issue with the Elite, right? And with Ace Steel and Larry the Dog. Three, just recently, a couple months ago, your top draw was fired. Why was he fired? Because of a fight you feared for your life. You feared for your life. You're the owner fearing for your life, and you want to say that your company is the safest company? How is that safe? That's not safe at all.
And he's talking about safety precautionary. CJ Page, I'm pretty sure, got a splinter backstage at one of the shows and got infected and
And
almost
she just
lost her.
had surgery.
Not to mention all the injuries, not to mention all the major injuries
And
that
Talk
all
have
of
about
their,
it.
occurred in
I
AEW over the
swear to you
last
not.
year.
And I know this is just KT tape's not a big thing, but some of it is. Every last wrestler that wrestled on World's End had KT tape somewhere. I know it's not a big
That's
deal, but
true.
it seems kind of telling at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rhea wears it, and certain people in WWE wear it. Like Cody wears it sometimes, but it's not to the greater extent. You know what I mean?
That you have to take such precaution.
Yes.
But why? You're the safest company in the world. Why do you need to take that much precaution?
Yep.
And another thing that I wanted to speak on real quick is we've seen how this company is run based on the fact that you give so much power to individual wrestlers. So and I'm gonna say this. I don't know if y'all are gonna agree with me. I love Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. I
Yep.
absolutely love
Legend.
his in ring work. He's
Yep.
the coolest person in the world.
Yep.
I want to speak on him being a part of that discipline committee.
Yep.
You don't think, like, this is what I'm wondering. You don't think that there could be just at least a little bias having a wrestler that's actively in the locker room, actively wrestling these wrestlers? You don't think that there's a little bias to having an active wrestler being a part of a disciplinary committee that has the
Yep.
power to release people at will?
Yeah. He has his opinion. And his thing, his opinion matters more than other people's. Is what
That's
kind
that's, and I get it. Like, in terms of, oh, what were we
Now
saying?
we do. I feel like most people look at Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, as like a level-headed,
he is.
fair individual, but there no doubt could be biases. You know what I'm saying? We
Mm-hmm.
know him for face value. There are things we don't know about
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson. You know what I'm saying? But undoubtedly, I feel like
Of
with
course.
anybody, there would be biases. There would be
The internet.
biases in those situations, especially like you said, if you're actively working with these people. I feel like even if it wasn't an active wrestler, though, I feel like there would be biases because I
Of
feel like
course.
Tony Khan has his biases. I feel like most people there
Mm-hmm.
probably was ready to fire Punk, besides Tony
Mm-hmm.
Khan.
Could be.
If I'm being honest with you, I think Tony Khan was like, man, Tony Khan. I know Tony Khan was looking at them numbers and that money, man.
But
As much as he is a wrestling fan, he got to be a businessman at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day with this situation. And that's what I like to think, at least, though. Could be wrong. I wasn't in that room. We'll probably never know how the vote went and how the disciplinary committee is even conducted. But yeah, I agree with you about Daniel Bryan being on there. There's
and
definitely
I
could be some
understand,
biases.
I wholeheartedly understand people's gripes with an owner like Vince McMahon, because trust me, we all have our gripes with Vince McMahon.
Yes.
And there's a level of extent where we respect kind of the way that he transformed and transcended the wrestling business. But when speaking about the shit that he's done, I know there's a lot of negatives. But one positive that I had to say about Vince being an owner, regardless of the monopoly in wrestling, was the way that he rarely took shit from people. Rarely took shit from a lot of people. He got punched in the fucking face, like Derek said, by Bret Hart. He got
He does.
spat on by Bret Hart. He's had so much shit happen to him, but he understands that there's a business to run.
Yep.
He understands that there's a business to run. That's why that term, I know, like the IWC, they love to say it. Oh, well, it's best for business. It's best for business. Because the shit, to an extent, could be best for business. But just as a casual fan, or as just diehard wrestling fans that are not actively like engaged in like these backstage discussions, we're not there figuring out how this person's running it. We're just seeing it from face value, like you guys were saying.
Yeah.
So we can't really say um oh well, that's bad for business. You didn't understand the decision that it took. But somebody like Tony Khan, whether you believe CM Punk was in the wrong or the right, somebody like Tony Khan that was so easily convinced to give power to a disciplinary committee rather than making a decision himself, that
Yep.
as an owner you should know what's best for your wrestlers. Because like he said in that media scrum, we have the disciplinary committee and my door is always open. So if your door is always open, there should be no need for a disciplinary committee, because you should know how your wrestlers are feeling and you should know the right way to change shit if change needs be.
Yep.
But I understand that some people say that they're owners, but they don't know how to own shit. They don't know how to run shit. You know, I'm not gonna. That's a rant for a different day.
But I think what's cool, not even cool, but what doesn't get me is we know Bryan Danielson actively hates the internet. Correct?
Yeah.
He is a I respect that because somewhat I'm on my phone a lot just from the internet and like the IWC and everything. Yes, I'm a product of it. I ain't gonna lie, but I do love the
Toxic.
outdoors. I love spending time with my family. Like that's like my biggest things. Like I love having time to myself. Why would
He's
you
like
have
that.
some disciplinary committee who basically gives people on the wrestlers who talk on the internet suspensions for talking on the internet when he already does not like the internet, two hates when people talk bad about the product already because he loves Tony Khan and Tony Khan loves him, and three, if it's anything negative, regardless, even if it's on the internet, but if it is on the internet and he sees it, like we already know what's gonna happen. We already know what's gonna happen. So what's the Tony Khan? What is your mind? I get it. You respect Bryan Danielson. I do too. I think he's a phenomenal individual. I don't know stuff behind closed doors, but from face value, he seems to be a stand-up guy. Why would you put, especially with him being an active wrestler right now, why would you put him in a role that kind of a level-headed guy can kind of manipulate at points in times when he needs to, especially if it's something that he doesn't like? Because we know he was reportedly one of the biggest figures to why CM Punk got fired.
Yeah. And he's actively talked about it. He's talked about it.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Bryan Danielson. He talks, like, if you're going to give the company to anybody, I believe, Tony Khan, if he leaves, Bryan Danielson, I think that, for another day, I think that would be good. But at the same time,
I said the same thing.
He cannot do it right now. I don't know what we're talking about.
I said the same thing in terms of if there comes a time where Tony Khan is just like, I want to be an owner, we got to get a head booker, or we need somebody to be head of creative. Daniel Bryan is your guy.
Yes.
He is the absolute go-to. If I'm running a company, I'm making sure Daniel Bryan is booking the entire thing.
Yes.
Because he's genuinely smart and he loves this business. But giving an active wrestler like such autonomy over other people's lives, other people's careers, their contracts, their money, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Really don't.
It's tough. It's definitely a just a sticky situation, man. It's a sticky situation. It's a sticky situation, and it does allow. It's a precedent that I don't think should be set. Like, it's one thing to have like wrestler's court, you know what I'm saying? Yep. Things that Daniel Bryan would handle that, but from a corporate standpoint, it's not the most fair situation. You know what I'm saying? Because it puts Daniel Bryan above everybody else too. What happens if Daniel Bryan gets into a fight with somebody?
It's like,
you
also,
know what I'm saying? Like, it's.
I understand. Like, speaking on wrestlers' court, right? I think it's like pretty common knowledge, especially within the wrestling community, that Undertaker was a lead. Like, he was a leader when it came to wrestlers' court. They always went to Undertaker. Undertaker was basically the president of wrestlers' court, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think, at least from what we know, I don't think Vince McMahon was actively asking Undertaker, who do you think we should fire? Who do you think, should we fire this person? Should we release this person? Because everything that we've heard from Undertaker or about Undertaker plays such a leader role, but he knows when it's his time to talk. He knows when it's time, when a wrestler needs discipline. That's when all the wrestlers, they hear about it. I heard this story from Maven about Wrestlers Court where a situation was brought up and it was a personal situation. So these wrestlers would put each other on blast sometimes in front of the whole locker room. But sometimes it doesn't have to go to somebody like Vince McMahon. But then when you have something like a disciplinary committee and you have a fight backstage, there's no choice but now Daniel Bryan and the general counsel and the attorneys like, all right, we'll just release the guy we think is a problem.
Yep.
But they only see it from one side. It's not like they're other than Daniel Bryan, they're not active wrestlers. They don't understand the business like that. They don't understand the psychology behind a lot of these wrestlers. So that's what I had to say on that whole fucking thing.
A lot of things transpired in the AEW media scrum, but there was also a lot of things that transpired at Monday Night Raw Day 1 edition. And one of those things was the main event. Drew McIntyre went one-on-one with Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. We almost had a cash in from Damian Priest that was failed again. But Seth Rollins was able to retain the title once again. And it just seems like Drew McIntyre may never get his moment. Just like Finn Balor. If we're looking at it honestly, this is crazy to think about with Seth Rollins' reign so far. Finn Balor, a guy who everybody feels like deserves another shot to hold that World Heavyweight Championship, hold a
Should
World
have happened
Championship.
at SummerSlam.
Because last time he got his shot and he got injured. Then a guy in Shinsuke Nakamura who has yet to win the big one in WWE.
I'm good on
him. Should have happened when he went through when they did that fucking the spot off the table.
He should have won at WrestleMania against AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was his time to win the WWE Championship. He should have won back then after he won the Royal Rumble. And then get to Drew McIntyre, a guy who, unlike the other two, was able to have a long reign. But he did not get to have a long reign in front of the crowd. He lost his title before the crowd came, lost to The Miz, then lost in front of the crowd at WrestleMania against Bobby Lashley. And since then, he's lost every single title shot that he's had. He's went up for the Intercontinental. He's went up for the United States. He's went up for the tag team. He's went up for the WWE Undisputed Championship when it was Roman Reigns at Clash of the Castle. And he went up against Seth Rollins now twice.
Fire.
Now twice he's lost to Seth Rollins. It just seems like Drew, another contract who probably is up at sometime this year, from what we've heard last year at least. I see him Punk's back. I just don't see Drew getting that World Championship ring, at least for another 2 years maybe. Now they could legit get him a short reign in. Now he had a long reign. He actually had 2 reigns in that time span because he lost the title to Randy Orton.
But he carried that pandemic.
So
he did.
He carried the pandemic era. So even if it's a short, month-long reign, I think that he should get it. I think even if they did that here, they could have had him win here. They could have had him win at Crown Jewel. Wasn't that the last time they fought? They fought at Crown Jewel, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was Crown Jewel. So if he would have won at Crown Jewel, I would have been fine with that. Even if he was a transitional champion, I'd be okay with that for Drew McIntyre. But I do think that he deserves that moment to be cheered on by the fans. But I don't know. I don't know how or when he gets that moment, honestly, in the near future with all the dominoes between CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Then you got Damian Priest in there too. Not much room for Drew McIntyre to get the gold if he didn't win.
But here's the thing about that too is because when the pandemic was, officially starting, I felt like that was when Drew was really, really, really gaining a lot of momentum. Like he had the fans counting for the Claymore. Like that was, I felt like, the peak momentum at that time. I'm not saying that Drew is in a terrible spot because he's in a far better spot than a lot of people are. But I felt like that would have been the perfect time. So now, I don't know. I understand, him being a transitional champion. But do y'all think that'll satisfy? Or just maybe revert the past couple losses? Because I felt like, especially like the recent losses, I felt like it kind of did hurt, especially the day one. I felt like it did hurt him in some way.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know if it's the company. I just don't think they trust him. I don't get it because he held down the pen. Like he was
No,
the
he
champ in the
did.
pen.
He was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy.
Yes, and we all believed it. He beat Brock clean. I think twice.
I was so happy. And then he
yeah,
beat
like-
Big Show right after.
Yeah, that was right.
Show, like 5 minutes later.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like he's believable as a champ. He looks like a champ. In Vince McMahon terms, he looks like a champ, a world champion at that. And I don't know, man. They just don't want him. I don't get it. They should have did the same thing with Finn Balor. Finn Balor could have had a shorter reign, but if he would have won at SummerSlam, people would have went crazy.
Well, we know. See, here's the thing, bro. Because we know how WWE treats a reign, like for the Judgment Day, especially when it comes to like the tag titles. Dom's North American title. Not speaking on Rhea because Rhea's the like de facto leader of Judgment Day, but something like how short the tag team titles reigns were, how it flip flop, and like I said, Dom's North American title win. I felt like at least it should have been just a placeholder title win for Finn Balor.
Yes, and the story made sense.
At least for the time being, while they figure out what the hell they're gonna do with the rest of the storylines. But now with CM Punk, with all this stuff that's happening now, I don't know when's the perfect time.
I mean, they could have even had Drew beat Gunther. I mean,
see, that was a huge possibility as well.
Yes,
he would have been acceptable.
Even though he lost that triple threat, that match of the year, by the way, in WWE.
But the same way I thought. I mean, regardless, it was a good match, and I'm glad Gunther. He's continued his reign.
I love Gunther, bro.
But I felt like Sheamus should have also beat him at Clash, or after that, if they were gonna push him against Roman, which I don't understand why they didn't. I still don't understand why they didn't. Yeah, and that's the way I feel right now.
I don't think they will. I think they'll wait till Cody wins the belt and has a decent amount of time before Gunther even... Because Gunther could retain at Mania.
Goes for the world title, yeah.
He needs to retain till SummerSlam, bro. That Ilya shit.
I mean, if he's gonna fight Brock, then he's gotta retain.
I don't know, because Brock's never had the IC title. I would love to see Brock Lesnar with an IC title, but he won't show up. So then
He won't show up.
I wouldn't mind it, but yeah.
Shit, we don't even get the United States champion.
He might give us 3 good weeks in a row.
I hope Kevin Owens wins. I ain't
had him since he won it.
Yeah, but like we've.
Yeah, they can't keep that title on for long.
Man, I wish Kevin Owens would win the big one again.
Dude, I've been clamoring for that. Like Rumble, I knew he wasn't winning, but the story, the payoff at the end was everything. But he can never beat Roman. The only time he's ever won is when Triple H helped him. I think he needs a clean, like, even if it's the world heavyweight, he needs a clean win. Like, he could go over clean to anybody. I think even Roman, he should. Like, he's just that good.
You're forgetting is L.A. Knight.
Yes.
What is going to happen with L.A. Knight? Because he's not on SmackDown. No, wait. No, he is on SmackDown. No, but will they have him?
To me, he's the guy to beat.
Or they could have Gunther. They could have him beat Gunther. We don't know yet. Cody swaps to SmackDown, and you swap LA Knight to Raw.
No, but we already had that Jay. You know that we had that Jay swap.
They could swap another one.
That was Jay and Kevin Owens. And now we officially have somebody in place for SmackDown.
Let's have a good match, Gunther and somebody else. And then at the draft, let's have LA Knight at the draft.
When's the draft?
It's gonna be after after Mania, right?
That's the thing.
Or maybe May.
How did Cody get to?
It wasn't.
I think
When was it this year? It
was it
in
June or
like
was it like
June
Mayish?
this year? I feel like, or a little afterwards.
Well, how does Cody?
It probably was more May because WWE 2K23 wasn't out that long. Because I remember the day of the draft. I streamed on WWE 2K23 the same day, and I did my
WWE
GM draft.
comes out April. It came out April.
So yeah, it wasn't that long
So
ago.
it was like sometime after Mania.
It was in April, yeah. I'm sure.
So
my
idea of it though is like, well, how do you get to Cody and Roman then if they're on two separate brands?
Well, that should have been the switch. Instead of Kevin Owens, it should have been Jay. I mean, it should have been Jay and Cody.
Well, Cody.
But then we had to break up Sammy and Kevin.
Yeah. I think maybe Cody doesn't have to switch because Roman technically has belts for both brands, technically, because WWE and the Universal can be split. But he has both of them. So he technically can go.
See, here's the thing, because now you have Cody Rhodes and CM Punk on the same roster. Remember we were talking about this like in an earlier pod? We were saying either CM Punk has to win at Royal Rumble, or what was it? What did we say? It was something
Punk has to win at Rumble, and I think
he
has to win an Elimination Chamber.
It was something like that. So then CM Punk could go face. Seth. No, I think it was CM Punk had to be going to SmackDown when he had first signed. He should have signed to SmackDown, and then wins the Rumble so he could challenge for the World Heavyweight Champion instead of going for Roman. Was it? I don't know. I don't remember.
Well,
nah, it's the Cody winning the Elimination Chamber one, brother. You thinking too hard? Nah, it's the Cody. If Punk wins the Royal Rumble, Cody wins the Elimination Chamber, and mainly because we don't think Cody should win the Royal Rumble.
And if he
definitely should.
I get it. If he does, I'm not gonna be mad. Cody's my favorite wrestler, so.
If he does, I'm not upset, especially if he comes in at
That's
one.
What I'm thinking. That's what I was just about to say. If he comes in at
one,
that was my thought process. As soon as he lost at WrestleMania, I said only way to get him there again without him getting drafted to SmackDown, especially after the draft. I was like, well, now if he's gonna win Royal Rumble, he has to go in at number one. But it could also do this, right? They could do an Elimination Chamber match where they have people from both companies, and the winner goes after Roman Reigns because Seth Rollins is gonna win. CM Punk wins, right? CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble. I think that's probably the best idea to go with right now. Is CM Punk winning the Royal Rumble? You have people from both brands be able to go up at Elimination Chamber. 3 people from both brands, Cody being one of them, and the winner goes up.
I think they should do
that way it just gives everybody.
Think about
they should do a little tournament. They should do a tournament.
Yes. Think about this
cross-brand tournament. Yeah, my fault.
No, you're good. I agree with that too. Think about this: the same night, $70K in the the Optus Stadium. You have the main event be Rock versus Roman. But the match before that, or the match even maybe before that, is the Elimination Chamber for who faces Roman at WrestleMania. You got like people like, obviously you got Cody. You got like maybe an AJ Styles. Maybe you have an LA Knight, and then you have like somebody else to the stat. You can even have Seth if he doesn't have a match, because Seth could try to.
I'd even take if they do the cross brand like a tournament to even get there. Why don't they take shit to NXT?
Yeah, you could have like a Braun Breaker even be in the elimination.
Have like just to be involved.
Yes,
I would take that.
Cody, and Cody wins, and then the next match is Rock versus Roman, and Roman beats Rock, and then Cody comes out. Stands. Let me know. Tell me that's because when they did that on
Cook it.
SmackDown, bro, yes, I was like, oh my god,
Yo,
bro.
bro, that fucking aura, bro, it felt
Yes.
so unreal,
Because
bro.
Cody looked legit mad, bro. He's like, this man has made my story a meme.
Yo, let you cook, bro. Yo,
At
nah,
this
bro, you
point,
gotta cook, bro.
yeah,
do the
that's
when they
cinema
do the
right there.
when they do
That's
the
cinema.
trademark thing like they did with Punk, and you wait at the end, you hear Cody just music or not even music, just walks out. He's holding his arm and everything, like he's hurt. He might have some blood, maybe. I wish they would do that more.
And he
And
does a limp. He does a little limp. He
yeah,
does it, or the Cody walk. The Cody walk.
yeah. And he just looks at him, and Roman looks after having a. I would say he looks gassed, but he just basically won the head of the table. Cody just looks at him, and then it just back and forth, and then it ends. And
See,
that's how
that's
you.
where, like you said, that's a time. Even when we talked about the blood, if Cody has a little bit blood in the blonde hair, and it's just
Yeah,
like a little cut, bro, man,
he's went through everybody, including Brock Lesnar, who's beat Roman Reigns. He's been through everybody to get back
just
to
to
Roman.
be in that position.
Yes, and it works
Yo,
perfectly.
that's fucking cinema. That's cinema,
Brock,
bro.
yes, because Rock low key, he's gonna get his bag regardless. Like people, if Roman wins, it's fine. Like Rock's gonna get his bag. He's gonna get
Right.
eyes on. People are gonna be hyped even more. I feel like for Cody and Roman than Rock versus Roman. That's just me. But that Mania match would be that build up. They might as well just bring back My Way by Limp Bizkit and throw it in a thing. They might as well, bro.
Yo, that's crazy, bro.
If you think about it, like honestly, I know booking's way harder than this, but if you think about it, bro, some of it's pretty simple.
No. That is wow. That's a good one. You
I
just
agree with
solved.
you.
You just
Yeah,
solved all the
completely.
problems.
I think a lot of times the writers they make things a little too complex sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
The simple thing is right there, like you said. That's a
The kiss
simple,
effect.
solution
Yep.
to again not have Cody win 2 times in a row, and then
Punk should
you
win.
got you create a huge moment. You create a huge moment at the end of Elimination Chamber. That of course, if The Rock is going to be there, because
I think
that's a real question. Did he just want to make a viral moment, or is he really willing to make this commitment to
and
make that match happen? Because it's
I
ultimately up
I
to him
think it's
at the
fine
end
either
of the
way
day.
too. If he just wants to make it a viral moment, like that's why we have the Logan Pauls around. At the same time, though, like I would be more intrigued to see that at Elimination Chamber than I would at Mania. Because Cody versus Roman is like a real life story. I'm not saying Rock versus Roman isn't, but there's one interjection in their story. It's just the head of the table. Who's the tribal chief? Cody
And if
has this man made my story a meme. He defended at Mania and cheated and won. Wouldn't give me a rematch. Made me go through Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar turned. Made me have a goofy storyline with Shinsuke Nakamura. Made me have another goofy storyline with Judgment Day and all my homies on Raw. He has beef with Seth. CM Punk came back. There's LA Knight's a moving part in all of this. He's
he
not
got a
getting any.
rubber chicken thrown at him.
Yes, there's literally so much with Cody and Roman.
To go back all the way back to when Cody Rhodes was going
Yes,
downhill as far as the
yes,
Stardust character, was when Roman Reigns was becoming
I thought
yes,
the
that
guy. Their careers are very parallel. The essence of Dusty being the one that saw it in Roman
yep,
before
but
Vince.
this
You know
is
what I'm saying? Dusty was the guy that put that confidence and that battery in Roman Reigns back when he first got to WWE to tell him like, "Hey,
that's
you
why
got it, brother." They couldn't take it from you if they wanted to.
yep.
It's in you, and of course, everyone says now, if you guys watch the
I do.
Cody documentary, like Dusty saw that in Cody as well. So for him to see, you know, again, Roman, one of Dusty's kids, it's so many parallels, and it's funny that a lot of people was trying to say that like It's
Nah,
not that
it
much
is.
of a
It is.
story there. Like,
Because
have you not watched? There is a million and one stories there for the story, and not even talking about Cody Rhodes' story. You know what I'm saying? Like, just between
the
Roman
NXT guys,
and Cody, Cody is the perfect
Yep.
person to beat him.
Yes.
like
Cody's the perfect
even
person to beat him.
in the what is it, the American Nightmare documentary on Peacock?
Yep.
Cody has said multiple times,
Mhm.
like throughout his whole entire career, that he's always felt some sort of jealousy towards the NXT guys or like Dusty's kids. So
Yes.
when they had started cutting
Mhm.
promos on each other, and then you started to see Roman Reigns start using that against Cody, like yeah, like oh, if there's one thing your father told me about you, it was nothing. Like that shit, and you saw Cody's emotion. That is a story. And now that Cody didn't go over Roman at WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania 40 is our fucking ticket. Let's run this shit back. Now I feel like not only does Cody have to prove something to his father, but he has to prove it to himself, prove it to us, people that have been invested in him since he came back.
Yep.
So, at the end
You
of the
know what?
day,
Yeah.
that's
You
it.
know what? You know what's crazy too? People will sit here and say Seth and Cody had a bigger storyline. That was surface level stuff compared to
That
like
was
Cody.
because he did have beef with Seth. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they had
Yeah.
history, and he had the
Yes.
same issue that he had with Roman Reigns being, Dusty's kid.
Yes.
Seth Rollins was one of Dusty's kid, but
Yeah.
like you said, it was surface level. Like there was something there, but it wasn't here. Now
Yes.
this is like I don't know how to explain it. This is like
Cody's
Roman Reigns
chasing.
is
He's chasing a ghost, basically,
he is he is
because there's
and
always Dusty. Dusty's anywhere, and Roman's a
yeah,
product of Dusty, so he's basically chasing a ghost.
and holding the title that his father never got to have. Seth Rollins did not have the title when they were beefing.
Yes, exactly.
So this is it. Roman Reigns has to be it. It has to be at Mania. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
Let's
and
do it.
you know what's crazy? Last podcast, I think before the Zulu one, we didn't even. We were saying how it could possibly Seth versus Punk could do night 2 if it got really bad, like the feud got really good.
Nah,
That was
this
my.
has to be night 2. Yeah,
But
I
every
know.
Doc came out and said all this, it has made my mind just like put away moving parts. Because now I see Punk and Seth can go crazy again, and I'll still think Roman versus Cody is probably the way to go. But Punk should it should be yeah.
That's how you end the weekend. That's how you end the weekend, man. And I guess that's how we end
Yes, sir.
episode
That's
4
3. Hold on.
of the Art of Squabble podcast, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in.
4 for 4.
Oh. But nonetheless, man, like I said, appreciate y'all for
Yes,
tapping
sir.
in with us, man. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We gonna be looking for hot takes again. So drop some hot takes in the comments, man. Drop them hot takes. Let us know what y'all thinking. Especially towards this WrestleMania season. Give us some WrestleMania season hot takes, man. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. This is just the beginning. Happy New
Yep.
Year to everybody from the Art of
Go
Squabble
follow Les.
podcast.
Follow Derek.
And
Go
we'll see
follow
y'all
me
later.
on every
Peace.
social media platform.